I updated my Garmin Cycling VO2 Max and even got power data into Garmin using an Assault Bike Pro X and indoor cycling service Zwift. This is the Assault Bike Pro X in my gym. It has Bluetooth and unconnection. First I connect my Garmin 6S Pro, go into settings, then sensors and accessories, wrist heart rate. Then I turned broadcast during activity on because I also wanted to locally record the activity onto the Garmin watch. Then I started broadcast heart rate. This is what it looks like if it is off, and this if it is on. By long pressing this button, one starts the End plus HR connection, which does connect the watch, and then the Assault Bike shows heart rate. By clicking again on the same button, it then starts the Bluetooth connection. I then opened up app Zwift. I clicked on power source, found the Assault Bike, and then had it connected as a power source as well as a cadence sensor. Additionally, previously I already had my 6S Pro connected to Zwift. This is important. The heart rate data here does not stem from the Assault Bike. The Assault Bike connection is just for displaying the heart rate, as seen here, also on the Assault Bike. Since I just wanted to test, I selected this workout here, called VO2 Searches. I selected a route and a world and started the ride. The ride consisted out of different intervals, each either 1 minute or 1 minute 30. Now, since the workout seemed to have been designed for cycling with the legs only and not on an air bike, the wattage I was able to put out was way higher than what was recommended for the warm-up, for example. Nonetheless, during the intervals, I sometimes seem to have struggled with getting the recommended or at the recommended wattage. The latency of transmission was maybe 1 to 4 seconds. I then interrupted the workout at maybe 2/3 of it. It showed me that it was called 8.5 minutes of pain. I averaged 221 wattage, or not wattage, watts. I drove 9.7 kilometers and it took me 15 minutes. Since in the beginning I drove a little bit harder onto the bike, we can see that this is probably mostly zone 4 or 5. Whereas later on I did take also the recovery phases. I sometimes drove at 100 or 150 watts, and then during the intervals I just drove all out until the end. We can also see the power distribution. I probably also could have changed it, and we also see the heart rate distribution. Now keep an eye on this here, so it shows lots of zone 2. It also detected an FTP increase, probably because I was using an Assault Bike, and also I had used Zwift with a bike connected to it only once. So my FTP is now 225 watts. I then opened up Garmin Connect and the activity was already imported. It seems to treat virtual rides with the identical display of GPS data. So I do also have a card, so apparently I just drove around in Richmond. We can also see that it has the connection display here of connected app Zwift. And we also already see that here it shows 206 watts, whereas the Zwift report shows an average of 221 watts. If I go into the charts section in Garmin Connect, we can then see the elevation. We can also see that I drove on average speed of 35 kilometers per hour, and then we can also see the power data. The Garmin training effect was 2.5 aerobic and 0.6 anaerobic. We also have cadence data, time in heart rate zones. Now in the time in heart rate zones, we see that most of it, according to Garmin, was zone 4, whereas according to Zwift, most of it was zone 2. Maybe the colors are different and then it would fit again, but maybe also not. Because here we can see the normal zones. It's zone 1, which in this case in Garmin is actually gray. Zone 2 in Garmin is then blue. Then we have this zone, which in Garmin is green. And then we have this zone, which in Garmin is also orange. And this zone is in Garmin also red. But here in Garmin we additionally have zone 1 in gray. And we do not have a yellow zone. Now, since this is the first or the second ride I have recorded with power data, I now also have power zones. And not only do I have power zones on my wrist-based runs with my Garmin Fenix 7S Pro, but now also in this run. So we can see that there are 7 power zones. The first one, the top one, is neuromuscular, then we have anaerobic, then we have VO2 max, threshold, tempo, endurance, and active recovery. Somehow I hit them all somewhat equally. And now for about a year, I searched for a way to update my Garmin Cycling VO2 Max without buying lots of expensive equipment. And as of today, I did it. My Garmin Cycling VO2 Max is 56. Using Zwift was free. The assault bike already stood in my gym. And now I have a way to update my cycling VO2 Max, maybe by doing a weekly or maybe every second week an assault bike ride in my gym. What I'm also wondering is, can I connect Zwift or other apps to the treadmill in my gym and also to the normal indoor bikes?